G'day guys, how are we doing? Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is, what is it today? Wednesday, January the 22nd, 2025. I'm a little bit mixed up today because of course I didn't do a walking, talking boxing, whatever you want to call it, walking boxing yesterday. And apologies for that if you tuned in and I wasn't around. I had to be on the road nice and early. Neil did get his walk in with my wife Tara, but it was a very, very short walk because it was about 30 degrees yesterday morning. So a little bit cooler today, which is good. He's happy and he gets to go on a longer walk today because he's back with his dad and it's a cool day. And so he gets to walk to his heart's content. Just on Neil again. Can you believe this? He got out again the other day. And I know what you're probably thinking, bad parents and everything else. Just one of those unlucky things. Forgot that one of us had come in from the gate or come in and left the gate open just a smidge. And Neil was let out after his dinner to go do his business. Forgot that it was open a little bit. And he was off doing what he does. Found him at the local IGA, as we did last time. I think it was actually at the post office last time, but this time it was across the road at the IGA. So we have invested in a Apple AirTag, one of those collars you get, and you put it around his neck, and you can find out wherever the hell he is. Now, hopefully, it will never come to that again, because we will do our best to not make mistakes like that. But he's the sort of little bastard. You give him an inch, and he'll take a mile. He is that type of dog. He's very slick, and you turn your back for 1 second and he's gone. All right, well, that's 2 minutes of the air time taken up by Neil. So we'll get on to the boxing. And what a morning it's been, or night if you've watched last night. As always, Noonan boy, Nick Noonan from Australian Boxing Central. The news breaker. I'm not sure No Limit are going to be very happy with him. Of course, it would have had to have come from somewhere. But they've got their announcement today of their March 12th show in Sydney, and I thought it was going to be Nikita Zoo, but it is going to be Brock Jarvis, and can you believe he is going to be fighting Keith one-time Thurman? Get your head around that. That is just nuts. And you talk about surprises in the morning. If you had said to me last night, all right, what fight is going to be, what is going to be announced tomorrow, I would have said anything but Brock Jarvis versus Keith one-time Thurman, if you can believe it. Now, Keith Thurman, of course, was supposed to fight Tim Tszyu almost a year ago and pulled out, and we've never heard from him since. And all of a sudden, he pops up fighting Brock Jarvis in Australia. And I still can't believe I'm saying that. Now, hey, good on No Limit, good on Brock Jarvis. I'm still to be convinced he actually makes it to the starting line, but we are only, about 8 weeks away, or 7 weeks away probably. So let's hope he can do it. But wow, that's all I can say is wow. Now, Keith Thurman hasn't fought for 3 years. His last fight was in February of 2022, and before that, it was 2.5 years before that. So he's had one fight in 5.5 years. Now he's 30 wins and 1 loss. So obviously he can fight. He's been in with some of the best fighters in the world, and at one time was the premier welterweight and arguably in the pound for pound top 10 in the world. So a massive, massive name for Brock Jarvis. And I suppose the question has to be asked, probably a couple of questions. Is Brock Jarvis good enough to challenge Keith Thurman? Keith Thurman, elite level fighter, as I said, the number 1 welterweight at one stage. Or on the flip side, has Keith Thurman fallen that far in the boxing world that he's coming down to Australia to fight Brock Jarvis, who is obviously literally unknown over in the States? Now, he's going to cop a lot of flack over this in the States. Not that we're too worried about that, but it is just, again, one of those fights I would never, ever have picked. Now, full credit to, I suppose, all parties. No Limit getting a big name to headline one of the shows over here. I'm assuming it'll be pay-per-view. with the big announcement. They don't do big announcements if it's not a pay-per-view. Brock Jarvis and Keith Thurman as a pay-per-view. That's another question. Are you going to pay $70 to watch Brock Jarvis and Keith Thurman? That's another question to throw in there. It's just one of those fights. I'm probably thinking it's a bit of both, that as far as the questions goes, Keith Thurman has probably dropped enough in the world scene, I suppose, that he needs to take a fight like this. Coming to Australia is a bit of a ballsy move from him, I will say though, as well, because we're not probably known as one of those countries that really give foreign fighters the benefit of the doubt in decisions. But hey, credit to him, and full credit to Brock Jarvis, who looked, I think, far from impressive in his last fight against Adrian Rodriguez. Got the win. Good to get a win under his belt, of course. But that his first fight in, was it a couple of years, I think? So he's going to take on one of the best welterweights of the modern era, coming off a very, very, what would you call it, lackluster, awkward fight over Adrian Rodriguez, who just didn't turn up, did not try and win, and just got in there for the payday and got himself knocked out. So it really revealed nothing. The other thing is what weight. I didn't actually read what weight it is. I'm assuming it'll obviously come out today, because Brock fought at, was it middleweight? Oh, maybe it was super. Well, I'm assuming it's going to be 154. Let's just say 154. I'm not sure whether Brock fought at 160 or 154 for Adrian Rodriguez, but either way, it is a intriguing fight. It really is. Look, on paper, you would have to say Keith Thurman would have far too much for Brock Jarvis, but how much has he faded? How much has he dropped off the cliff? The activity, good fighters, doesn't really matter them having time off, although 3 years is a long time. So, look, again, I'll say it, a very, very fascinating fight, and I still am struggling to get my head around that Brock Jarvis is fighting Keith one-time Thurman. Amazing. On the undercard, everyone's favourite Aussie fighter, Michael Zarafa, back in action against a live opponent. His name is Garcia. Now I'm sure it's AI. I'm pronouncing it A because that's how us Aussies do it. But I'm assuming there might be a German way to pronounce that name. But for now, I'm going to call him Garcia. 19-1. He is from Germany, and had a look at his record. Look, he got beaten in his second pro fight, so he's won his last 18 fights since then. Not any names on there at all, but there's some fighters on there with okay records, some other fighters with shocking records, but what else is new for all fighters? All fighters' records have those types of fighters on there, but the fact is 19-1, I'm assuming it's some sort of eliminator, I don't know, but obviously the Tim Tszyu fight's not happening anytime soon, so I think Tim, keep a lookout. I think I've got a feeling now that this is March. I've got a feeling Nikita will be April, and then Tim will be after that. But anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, Michael Zarafa, good fight for him. I haven't seen any footage of Garcia yet, so I'm going to do that today. So I might just withhold a little bit of judgment on that opponent till I see him. But either way, look, I got no dramas. Even if he's, as they say, a bit of a tomato can, I don't really care. I mean, at least Michael's in there with a credible opponent, good record, and he's keeping busy, which he hasn't done in previous years. He's had this habit of just sitting around waiting for fights, Michael Zarafa. So I'm actually glad that he's like, all right, well, until the Tszyu boys work out what's going on, I'm going to take a fight on a big card and keep busy and hopefully, improve his world ranking again. So credit to Michael Zarafa for doing that. Should be a good one. And I didn't see the rest of the card. I'm sure that'll obviously all be announced today. Was there another fight on there? I don't think there was. I think it was only the two that were announced. Anyway, they're the two that matter. But yeah, look, again, I'll ask the question, is the card Brock Jarvis, Keith Thurman and Michael Zarafa, Garcia a double header enough for you to put your hand in your pocket and fork out $70? I'll be forking out a lot more than that, by the way, because if you watched Talking Boxing the other night, we've taken on a pub as part of our acquisition of a bottle shop. We've had to take it on, so we've made it into the Fight Lounge. So it's got a sports bar and a fight lounge. It's dedicated just to boxing and UFC. So I'll be having it on the big screen in that lounge. I'm not looking forward to what it's actually going to cost me though, but I'm assuming there'll be people out and about that will want to come and see it. Or will they? We'll see. I'll look forward to the announcement today, March 12th, the big fight in Sydney. And again, I'm not sure whether No Limit will be happy with Noonan Boy for announcing everything, but again, someone would have had to have told him what was going on, so maybe it was just a leak that they deliberately tried to get out there. Who knows? But anyway, so March 12th, look out for it. The other fight that was announced, it sort of slipped under the radar last night, that wouldn't have got any sort of publicity at all compared to what this event will probably get, but the March 1st card. Now that is in Sydney as well, isn't it? I think, or Brisbane, is it? The Liam Wilson Yusuf Dib rematch. On the undercard, a very, very, very good fight. Jalen Tait, John Mannu. Now, this is not probably going to get a lot of media attention or anything like that, but the real fight fans will understand what a really good fight this is. Now, Jalen Tait coming off a disappointing loss to Ibrahim Bala, but the guy can fight, or the kid can fight. He's only very, very young. So I think he's still got a way to go in boxing. The Bala fight was unexpected. Big things were expected of Jalen Tait. What's his name, is it? Yeah, Jalen Tait. I keep getting it mixed up with the basketball player, Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum. Anyway, it's another story, side joke with my son. But yeah, Jalen Tait and John Mannu, very, very good young fighter. Had the one loss over in the States, but can fight. Very, very good southpaw, and I think this is a excellent matchup. And all of a sudden, I'm excited about the card. Wilson Dib 2 and Tait versus Mannu. Great card so far, and I'm sure they'll stack it with some other fights. But that is the free card, and I don't really want to say, but I'm almost looking forward to that card more than the Jarvis and Zarafa doubleheader. Maybe, actually, I'll backtrack a little bit. Maybe the fact they've got Brock Jarvis and Michael Zarafa on the same card, maybe this is the contingency plan if neither Nikita nor Tim Zoo want to fight Michael Zarafa, or Brock Jarvis for that matter, for whatever reasons they have. Maybe this is the contingency plan that, hey, if they don't want to fight, then we'll match them up against each other later in the year, which would be another very, very exciting matchup. Brock Jarvis, Michael Zarafa. That would sell, I've got no doubt about that. So, yeah, so No Limit just covering all the bases, aren't they? So I just went off track there, just sort of entered my mind that could be what they're doing. But anyway, but yeah, that March 1st card, I'm looking forward to it. Should be a ripper. Another card though I was looking forward to, and now not so much, in the States. It was going to be Ryan Garcia, Pitbull Cruz, and Devin Haney, Jose Ramirez. Well, now it's still Haney and Ramirez, but Pitbull Cruz has been replaced. Excuse the leaves here. Pitbull Cruz has been replaced by Rolly Romero. Now, I've got a feeling the lead up and the press conferences and weigh and everything is going to be far more exciting than the actual fight. All of a sudden, I feel a little bit deflated about that. I was actually up and about, and I thought, wow, this could be a really, really good card. Garcia and Pitbull would be a ripper, and Haney Ramirez will be a nice fight as well. But now to have Ryan Garcia and Romero, not so excited. The fight itself, I think, will just be, I don't know, it might be a little lackluster. Rolly Romero, I'm not a fan of. I just don't think he's a good fighter. Good on him for winning a version of that 140-pound title, the WBA fight against his grandfather, but was sort of shown up a little bit by Pitbull and dominated in that fight, and his last fight was far from impressive as well. Yeah, I'm not sort of feeling it all of a sudden. It's going to be May 2nd in New York. I actually planned that maybe, possibly, if Canelo come up against a live opponent for Cinco de Mayo on May the 3rd, that I might go to both of those cards, but impossible now anyway, because one's Friday night in New York and the other one's Saturday night in Las Vegas. And yes, you could hightail it across the country, but you'd sort of miss sort of the weigh-in and everything kind of build up of both fights, really. I mean, you can probably be there for the weigh-in for Garcia and the Haney doubleheader in New York, but then hightail it back across to Las Vegas for Canelo. Yeah, you'd probably just be getting there a couple of hours before the fight. Yeah, not so much excited about that one, and we still don't know who Canelo's going to fight. And if it's William Skull, well, you can definitely put a line through that. So, but either way, plenty of stuff happening. I did also see that Michaela Mayer and Sandy Ryan, if you're into the women's boxing, are going to fight a rematch. If you're not familiar with them, they fought for the WBO, I think, welterweight title last year. And before the fight, this is what's strange about it, while I'm mentioning it, is that Sandy Ryan was on her way to the arena, Madison Square Garden, and someone attacked her with a can of red paint as she was about to get in her car. The masked assailant come out of nowhere and threw a can of red paint over her. Now, there was accusations it was Michaela Mayer's crew. She's of course denied all involvement, and Sandy Ryan said it did affect her performance. I'm not quite sure. I mean, I don't know. Everyone's a little bit different, but I must admit, if someone come out of the shadows and threw a can of red paint over me, I might be a little bit shocked and surprised and a little bit bewildered. But I think, given an hour or so just to relax and calm down, and I think you'd be okay. But apparently it affected her performance. She did lose the fight, of course, and we all look for those little things to roll out when we lose fights. But look, who knows? As I said, it affects people differently. But they will fight again on March 29th to settle that. So the first fight was a really good fight, by the way. So if you're a women's boxing fan, we'll look out for that one. Michaela Mayer and Sandy Ryan 2 on March 29. No location in mind yet. So look, plenty going on out there. It's fascinating. I'm really looking forward to the press conference today to see what is exactly happening, and all the particulars and details, and we get ready for the most unexpected pay-per-view of the year. Again, I just had no idea this fight was coming, and I don't know at this stage whether I'm sort of laughing at the matchup or reporting the matchup. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see what they say at the press conference today, and we'll all make our assumptions after that. But guys, have a great hump day Wednesday, and we'll catch you tomorrow.